I proudly announce I read almost everything from my April TBR. Yay! Hey guys, I was taking part in the Magical Readathon hosted by G from Book Roast for the first time and I had so much fun. I was trying to read for the Thread Mage, which meant I needed to read 5 books for 5 prompts, which I did manage, and first semester is successfully behind me. I can't wait for Autumn Equinox, and if you want to know more about this readathon and see the prompts I had to read for and everything else, here is my April TBR video in the corner and in the description. I talk about it more there, and I also added the official Orilium announcement video in there as well. I have the Orilium map here and I will use it as a reference for this spread. I had something completely different planned, but oh well, it was a spur of the moment decision and I decided to loosely recreate the map. And I mean very loosely because I am only painting clouds. I am using Reverie Melodies bullet journal with watercolor paper, so I am absolutely not concerned about paint or water bleeding through pages. These pages work with almost everything and this has become my favorite journal ever. For the paint, I am using my St. Petersburg watercolors. I have had these for many years and even when I try different brands, I somehow always go back to these. I was not sure which color to pick for the background, but I ultimately chose burnt umber and it is so close to the Orilium map. Well, it will be after the second coat. I have everything already sketched because I wanted to see if I can make it work and I didn't want the pressure of it being recorded. For clouds, I am using very diluted Mars Brown and I am trying to maybe add more color to the lower clouds or the ones in shadow. I was thinking about painting them light blue, but nah, I think this looks better. The banners are purple for no reason. And once again, I did my best to make the lettering look nice. And I know I still have a long way to go, but this did not turn out that bad. Okay, with all the painting done, I can go ahead and do the line art. And to be honest guys, at this stage I am not sure about the whole idea, but I just need to trust the process. The line art, oh wow, it makes it look so much better. I am outlining all clouds and banners and I'm also adding a drop shadow on the bottom of everything and some hatching and oh, it's so cute. I am so happy I chose to do this theme. I was not able nor willing to paint for the past few months due to life, and this is not a masterpiece, but even a small win is a win, right? Okay, this big blank shape on the left side is calendar and I am freehanding all the lines here because I feel like it matches the style better. And on the next page will be the list of all the books I read in April. I am also marking dates read for each book on the calendar, so I like to have this side by side. I saw this on Instagram and I liked the idea so much I started doing it in my journals as well. And guys, I finally have markers or highlighters in muted colors. So this spread does not look messy as they usually do. And I am so happy. These are Mr. Pen Bible highlighters and I love them so much. I do hope they will last because they don't necessarily look like it. I was thinking for a long time about Magical Readathon journal and I was not sure whether to have a separate journal for that or to include everything in here, but if I did that, I think we would fill most of this notebook up, so I am doing it like this. Here, in my regular reading journal, I include everything as I usually do, all the reviews and statistics, and in my Orilium journal, if I do make one, there will be everything else, and maybe I should include all the materials G provided us with, but it is a lot of stuff, guys, and I've seen many nice Orilium journals and they gave me a lot of inspiration, but it is still a big and daunting task. So maybe there will be Orilium reading journal video on my channel. If I do that, I do hope I will get to that in June, but I am not making any promises. This is how this spread turned out. So excited. And let's do the cover page now. I am folding the map in half and simply just gluing it on the page. There is some journal page showing on top and bottom, but I don't really mind. This is the official Orilium map. I only added the Spring Equinox banner in the middle in Canva and then printed it out. Thanks G for making my life easier. This is the quickest I have ever finished my reading journal cover, and it is stunning. Okay guys, it is finally time for book reviews. I will be talking about 7 books today. First is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Noble. It is a middle grade mystery thriller, and let me tell you, I was a bit apprehensive about reading middle grade and I was slightly unsure, but guys, it was way better and more exciting than I anticipated. It was even better than some young adult books I have read recently. This is about 11-year-old Amy, whose dad disappeared on her 3rd birthday and her mom is too busy, so she sends Amy off across the ocean to a prestigious boarding school in England. Just before Amy has to leave, she discovers this mysterious box with medallions and a note reading, "This belongs to your father." While at this boarding school, she has to share a room with a terrible roommate, of course, but she also finds some friends. She stumbles upon the school's secret society. It is somehow connected to the box, and she and her friends are trying to figure out if this secret order has something to do with her dad's disappearance. The mystery aspect was interesting and much darker and more twisted than I anticipated in middle grade. Maybe I accidentally picked a good one. I was surprised with how much I enjoyed myself. Okay, let's talk about the page, because how cute is that? I have this beautiful dark academia themed sticker sheet from one of recent Sticky Club subscriptions, but because it is blue, it does not fit with any of my other similar stickers, but it is perfect for this book. I like to match my page in journal with the book cover, sometimes even with the theme of the book, because I find it satisfying, but it makes my life so much more difficult when working on this spread. Anyway, back to the sticker sheet. It is perfect. There were few stickers left, and to hell with it, let's use them all in here. I also made these labels with book titles in Canva, and I was not sure whether to use them, but they turned out so cute. I did use them for almost every single book. Okay, next is a tough one. I started listening to Herald the Night in March, and it was a struggle. If you've seen my March vlog, you know I even soft DNF'd it because I was not having a good time with it and I was taking part in another monthly reading challenge. I wanted to move on to more enjoyable and quicker reads. I finished Herald the Night at the beginning of April because I just could not finish it. I was hoping for some answers at least. Oh, silly me. It's like, I hate this book, but I also want to know what happens next and why I was forced to go through this thing. I hope it's not just a stupid gimmick to make us all confused and it has some good payoff, but what if it's not? Did I make myself confused and frustrated for nothing? What's the tone of the third book? Do I subject myself to more torture with it? I believe there is or will be 4th book in the series released, and will that be the last one? I have hopes for this series, but at the same time I just want to go through another, I'm using quotes here, hero book. She felt so boring as a character. There were many interesting things going on, but I just couldn't with her. Plus, the writing style felt so purposefully convoluted to me. The author almost never goes from one thing or scene to the other. There is always this big tangent about this or that character, what happens to them, how this room looks, who is wearing what, and how they feel about it, and so on, to the point I forgot where we were in the story because we were being told about everything else except the main story. And the main story was purposefully disillusional as well. But there was that one scene where my jaw dropped in public, and then something else happened next, and my jaw dropped even more, and I started laughing so hard. Yep, not everyone in this town thinks I am crazy yet, but I am on the good path to remedy that. It's love and hate relationship with this series right now. After finishing this book, I immediately read the extra long summary of the whole book, and I still have no idea what was going on. I wish I was kidding, guys. Next is The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I was promised a book about a master and a student, prophesized hero who is supposed to save the country one day. But because of that, everyone keeps protecting him and treating him as a hero already, without him earning the title. And so Jian becomes a spoiled brat, unprepared to face his destiny. But here comes our mentor, the greatest war artist of her generation, and she has to find a way to forge Jian into the person he needs to be, to fulfill the prophecy. And yes, that is all true, this all happens in first few chapters, and then the rest of the book is completely different, and our two main characters go different paths, which honestly I was so disappointed about. We are suddenly introduced to 2 or 3 more characters, and each of them has their own POV chapters, and they all alternate. And this is where the book got slightly frustrating for me, because most chapters were quite short. I mean, roughly 15 pages or so, and with 4 or so character POVs taking turns, I was constantly confused where we were and what we were doing, and by the time I figured out which story is this and where they belong in the world, about half of the chapter was gone, and by the time I started enjoying it, we switched to the next chapter, and this kept happening to me for the whole book. I am aware this is a me thing, I have a hard time following multiple POVs, but I got the hang of it by the end of the book. Overall, it was an interesting story, and that's what kept me from DNFing the book. I like how it all fused together at the end, and there is promise of even more interesting storylines, so I will probably continue with the series someday. Next we have The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan, and I don't know what to say about this one. I feel kind of indifferent about this book. It was a good read, yes, I think that's what sums it up. I was not excited while reading it, but I was curious to see what happens next, so I finished it. I don't have any strong opinions about it. It was a book and I read it. Such a helpful review, I know. So, this story is about Sir Conrad von Wald, who is Emperor's Justice, which means detective, judge and executioner all at once. He is dedicated to his job. He is smart, brooding and not very talkative, and that's why this story is told from Helena's perspective, his 19-year-old clerk, and this did not work that well for me. I just really didn't like Helena, but the story itself was interesting. Okay, next is the book I enjoyed probably the most in April, and I did not expect that. Dungeon Craveler Carl. I can't say that. Oh man, this book is unhinged. And so is my spread. I looked through my cat stickers and found these 2 cute ones. One of the main characters in the Dungeon Craveler Carl is a cat. Princess Donut the Queen and Chong. I love that name. She was a pedigreed, award-winning show cat who belonged to Carl's ex-girlfriend, She participated in shows almost every weekend, and a full room was dedicated to her ribbons, trophies, and awards. She is vain and likes pretty things, and I love her so much. Okay, I started to talk about Cat without telling you about the book. Wow. Priorities. Anyway, this is a lit RPG adventure, and in the beginning, every human-built construction on Earth collapses and sinks into the ground, where they are transformed into the dungeon so enormous it circles the entire globe. Those who survived can enter the dungeon and take part in a survival game that will be televised. Only a few dare venture inside. Once you are in, you can't get out. You have to survive, and you have to survive big and get those followers. We follow Donut the cat and a man, Carl, who is smart, inventive, and equipped only with his leather coat, boxers, and ill-fitting pink croc sandals. This book has the particular style of humor which I am okay with, but I am not sure I can make it through more than one book at a time. And it was getting slightly repetitive for me by the end, but I am going to continue with the series for sure. It is absurd and funny with some serious moments as well, and quite different from what I have ever read. And that cover, guys, that cover is perfection. On to the last page. I read Legion novella by Brandon Sanderson, and he made this one available for free in one of his weekly updates, I think. Stephen, aka Legion, is a man whose unique mental condition allows him to generate a multitude of hallucinatory entities, and each of them has unique personal characteristics, traits, and skills, and they solve crimes together. Is that a good summary? Nah, but it's short and I don't want to spoil you. It was definitely an interesting read. And the last one is first volume of the Witch Hat Atelier. It has these cute small witchy vibes and I enjoyed it. I own only the first volume, but there are more in the manga reading room nearby, so I need to go there and read some more to see how I like the series. Lastly, I am working on my reading statistics spread. I made some cute banners to make it similar to the cover page. I like how this page turned out a lot. It's so cozy and cute. Here is a quick flip through of all the spreads. I honestly couldn't be happier about this. And I worked hard on my March spreads as well. The first page opens up, it's so cool, I dare say so myself. Please go and check it out if you haven't already. Have an absolutely lovely day. See you next time. Bye.